understand that getting paid to speak is not the best way to get paid to speak. Really pay attention to what I just said. Let me repeat that again. Knowing that you're going to get a fee is not the best way to make money speaking. The best way to make money speaking is the secondary way, which is to build a revenue stream of other services.
Most common question that people ask you. Now, I'm wondering, what do people usually struggle with when it comes to public speaking? And when finally they're about to turn it into a profession?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say for me, what I've seen in the industry, definitely what people struggle with the most at the beginning, definitely the fear and this idea of not being willing to practice. So I'll give you an example. So let's say Julia works a 9 to 5 at a bank. She comes up to me and says, "Brenda, you're telling me to present the same thing 400 times, or 40 times or 20 times, but my bank's project updates change every week. What am I supposed to do with this?" So that's something a lot of people struggle with. So the way that I frame it is I say, "You're right, Julia. I'll give you that. You're correct. But curious, what do you do outside of work?" And then Julia says, "Oh, well, I run Spartan races. I'm a great marathoner. I'm a gold medalist at this competition. I take care of my kids. I love my kids. And, I love my nutrition. I cook a lot of healthy food." And I look at Julia and I say, "You just gave me 3 presentations." She goes, "What are you talking about? I just told you what I liked." I go, "Exactly. You can make a presentation on your favorite recipes and share that with people. You can make a presentation on parenting tips because we all know that we need them." And number three, you can talk about your experiences running marathons. What was your regiment like? What are some of the tips that you have for other people who want to run a marathon? So what happens is you don't present that to a million people. You don't even present it to 15 people. Present it to 3 people, to 5 people. And I guarantee you, if you present it with care and you actually care about what you're doing, one of those people, not a 10 million, one person, is going to say, "Hey, Julia, I really liked your content. I actually went on a run this morning. Thanks for what you do." And then Julia is going to get addicted to public speaking. How do I present this to 10 people? What if I presented this to 100 people? And then she'll be on her way. So that's what people struggle with, is finding that presentation topic. In my head, don't break your head with it. Just focus on the one thing that the world needs you most to do right now, from that one question I made you ask earlier with the key idea. Make a presentation around that, present it to 2 people. My first keynote was in front of 2 people. The 2 friends that didn't care about the presentation just cared about supporting me. But they gave me a lot of feedback. Then I presented 10, 100, and stuff goes on. So that's my advice.
I want to reiterate the second part of that question because I'm really curious about it. What do they struggle then when after you've given this advice and they've done that and now they're like addicted to it and they're saying, okay, but now how do I get paid? How do I turn it into a profession? What do I charge? I wonder, like, what do they struggle with? What are some of the most common questions they ask you?
I would say the biggest thing that they struggle with from going from free to paid is niching down. So most people, so let's say a good quote I'd like to see: if you want to speak for free, speak on anything. If you want to speak for a fee, speak on one thing. Right? So what I mean by that, and that doesn't necessarily apply for every industry or anything. Like, you can't take Gary Vaynerchuk's model and apply it to you. That doesn't work. For most people who get paid to speak, they get paid to speak because the fee outweighs the problem they're solving. So if you think about me as a communication speaker, you can imagine that people, companies, clients, organizations want to pay me for my time because the value I deliver is higher than the money, whether it's 1,000, 5,000, doesn't matter, right? Outweighs the topic that I'm presenting on. And because I'm a subject matter expert from Master Talk and all that stuff, I have the credibility to charge high fees. So for you who's listening, you really need to figure out, and this is what most people struggle with the most, niching down. So at the beginning, let's say you presented on dogs and you got really good at public speaking, and that's great. You're an amazing speaker, but you can't present on dogs and make money from it because no one's going to pay you for that. What you want to focus on is maybe how to build a dog kennel business if that's something you did, how to do something like that. Figure out something that someone is willing to pay for. And the best way to do that, honestly, is to go on like speaking websites, people who get paid $10,000, 15,000 plus, see what topics they present on and pick one of those topics and charge much less for it.
How to train your dog to be potty trained in one day,
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, good advice. Very good advice right there. Speaking of turning it into a profession, I wonder your personal story. When did this become profitable for you? A lot of public speakers struggle with the fact that, first, Sean says, first 3 to 5 years, I don't make money. I'm going to starve to death if I do that. I wonder what's your story on this? How long before you actually made money, and how long before you finally said, okay, I can actually quit my job and do this full time?
Right. So the key to speaking that most people don't get is you're right. It takes a while to get paid for actually speaking because you need to have some sort of brand, whether it's your business, some sort of credibility. That's why I recommend building your long-term brand early. Like this podcast, I don't get paid for, right? But I do it to build the brand, right? So you want to do the same thing in your business. I know you're doing that, but to everyone else. But the key is the second part is to understand that getting paid to speak is not the best way to get paid to speak. Really pay attention to what I just said. Let me repeat that again. Knowing that you're going to get a fee is not the best way to make money speaking. The best way to make money speaking is the secondary way, which is to build a revenue stream of other services. So if you think about me, a lot of my speeches these days are still free, right? Some I get paid for sure, but a lot of them I don't. But I still make a lot of money from those speeches. Why? Because some of the people want me as their coach, right? They go, this guy's the founder of Master Talk. I'm the CEO of this company. If I pay him X number of dollars, I'm going to make a killing off my speech. How much do you charge? And then I just charge whatever I want, right? Because it just works. I have the authority. And the best way to build authority is through speaking because you're right there or you're there virtually. You come up as an expert. The person who's hosting the events puts you there as an expert. The people who go to the event trust the organizers, which means they'll trust you. The only other way to build trust that fast is referrals or podcasts. The third thing is speaking, right? So what you want to do, whether it's through a book that you want to sell, whether it's a product you want to offer, whether it's a service that you have, you want to package your expertise in a way that helps people. If you're passionate about career advice, and make sure it's something people want to pay for also. If you're passionate about career advice, have a career coaching program at the end of your workshop and say, if you want to see more of this, if you want to get one of my one-on-one coaching programs, here are some of the people that I've helped and what they've been able to generate and achieve. Work with me. 1% of people will say yes. And once you get those 5, 10 clients rolling, then the rest is history. Then you have too many clients because then it gets annoying, honestly, because then they start referring you to everyone else. Then you have an overload, then your prices skyrocket, and then it gets challenging. So I think the idea is that's the key. Yeah.
Good problem though.
Yeah, good problem to have for sure, for sure.
But yeah, definitely agree. Also, the reason why I'm still doing my talks, whether paid or not, is for the secondary stream of income. And that for me is when they get my SEO services. So the talks could be a good one-off money, you know. Again, I charge $1,500, and but that's just one pop every, I don't know, like 2 months, 3 months. Now, especially in the lockdown, I used to have it every month. Trivia, my wife would consider that as my play money because I can't spend company money, so I can only spend my public speaking money for the stuff that you see here in my background. So, but
You
yeah.
married well. I love that.
Now, we have learned so much from you, and this is definitely applicable to whether you're a professional, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're leading a nonprofit organization, or especially when you are someone who is on the journey to making public speaking a part of your life and a part of your revenue stream. This is fantastic. Someone who is on that journey would just know so much just by listening to you, Brenden. And I want to know, what's your one big advice now to people who are struggling out there, entrepreneurs, leaders, professionals, wannabes, wannabe public speakers, what's your one big advice to them in light of the entire context, in light of the COVID, the pandemic, that no one is really hiring a lot of public speakers right now? So this weekend is going to be my second paid talk for the year, where they're going to be paying my regular rates. I used to have it once a month. You got 70% of your revenue slashed off. I imagine that's from canceled events. So, what's your one big advice to these people?
Right, absolutely. I would say the big thing that I'd love for people to take away. Actually, side note, if you want a book recommendation, you should check out Thirst by Scott Harrison. Excellent read for those who want to be a great speaker. Back to the advice next. I always mention that book. Is the following piece of advice: be insane or be the same. I know we talked about it before, but let me add more details to it. If you want to do amazing things with your life, you need to realize that the only way to do that is to be a bit more crazy. So take me as an example. Don't you all find it odd that as a 22-year-old, I started a YouTube channel, not on comedy, not on vlogging, not on pranks, but on public speaking communication tips. Then I started coaching C-level executives at 23, and now I have a successful practice and YouTube channel. But I am also having this very conversation on a mattress, the one I sleep on. I still live in my mother's basement, and I don't own a car. So how do any of those decisions make any sense? Brenden, you're a grown man. What are you doing with your life? You should be having a girlfriend and living on your own. And that's the point. All of your decisions should only make sense to one individual. And that one individual, if you haven't guessed, is you. And once you get to that place where every little decision that you make, whether it's coming on a podcast at 10 p.m., whether it's not owning a car, doing shows on a mattress, once you get to that place, then you make perfect decisions and you've become insane. And once you get to that level, then you do whatever you want with your life and you will be able to figure out the insights you need to succeed.
Never in the history of my podcast has that one big advice been given in such a way as you've given it now. Thank you for that. Be insane or be the same. I'm keeping that for life. And to end to end this episode, thank you so much. Where else can people find or follow you aside from your YouTube channel? And we're gonna have it all on the show notes in the leadershipstack.com website. Where else can people find or follow you?
Yeah, I just love adding value to the show because your questions have been so amazing. But before I get to the stuff is, why did Sean say that for the audience? Why did Sean say that I was the only person who ever gave that advice? Because that was intentional. The definition of value is tell me something I don't already know. If you come onto a podcast and you say don't give up, Sean already knows that. If you come onto a podcast and you say you should work really hard, Sean already knows that. What can you say that nobody else knows? And if you can get to that place in your life, everyone's going to want you on their show, everyone's going to buy your product, and everyone wants to get to know you more. And if you want to get to know me a bit more, check out my YouTube channel. It's Master Talk in one word, where I share all of my free content for people who want to learn public speaking, the people who can't afford me, the people who want to learn anyways. I hope you check that out. If you want to check out my Instagram and send me a message, that's Master Your Talk. I'm not famous or anything. Don't be shy to send me a question, concern, complaint, insult. I'm always happy with anything. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much, Brenden. I hope you guys learned a lot. That is all the time we have, and I have learned a ton. I hope so have you. What I'm sure of is, Brenden, we are better for it. Thank you for being on the show.
Very kind of you. Thank you for having me.